There comes a moment in every person's life when the weight of consequences becomes impossible to ignore. A moment when the results of every action, every choice, every hesitation, every decision, big or small, stand in front of us like a mirror reflecting not who we wish to be, but who we have allowed ourselves to become. And it is in this moment, when the truth feels the heaviest, that transformation begins. Because consequences are not punishments. They are teachers. They are reminders. They are reality knocking on the door of your comfort zone saying, "Wake up. Life is happening with or without your permission." The question is not whether consequences will show up. They always do. The real question is whether you will rise because of them or collapse beneath them. People often run from consequences as if they are enemies. But the truth is, being motivated by consequences is one of the most powerful catalysts for personal growth that exists. Why? Because consequences do not care about excuses. They do not care about your emotions, your intentions, your fears, or your potential. They reflect your actions with perfect honesty. That honesty may feel uncomfortable, but it is also liberating because nothing changes until something becomes uncomfortable enough to demand change. Comfort rarely motivates people to push beyond their limits. Comfort whispers, "It's fine. You can wait. You can try tomorrow." But consequences roar. Your future depends on what you do now. And sometimes we need that roar. Think about the greatest turning points in your life. How many of them were triggered not by convenience, but by consequence? The relationship you finally walked away from, the health decision you finally made, the goal you finally committed to, the job you finally left, the truth you finally spoke out loud. Chances are, you didn't change simply because you wanted to. You changed because you had to. You changed because the cost of staying the same became too high. You changed because the consequences of inaction became heavier than the fear of action. That is the power of consequences. They push you into the next version of yourself when fear tries to keep you in the old one. There is a unique clarity that emerges when you realize that every choice you make carries a result. Every delayed dream carries a cost. Every avoided challenge grows into a larger obstacle. Every moment spent doubting yourself becomes a moment lost in the pursuit of your potential. And the painful truth is that life will not pause while you figure things out. Opportunities do not wait for your confidence to grow. Dreams do not freeze in time while you build up courage. Life moves. Time moves. The world moves. And if you do not move with it, you fall behind, not because you are incapable, but because hesitation steals what fear cannot. But here is the powerful part: consequences can also become your fuel. They can sharpen your focus. They can ignite your discipline. They can turn your hesitation into urgency and your fear into determination. Because once you become aware of what you stand to lose by staying stagnant, you begin to understand what you stand to gain by moving forward. Being motivated by consequences means recognizing that your future is shaped not by what you hope for, but by what you do. Hope alone is not enough. Desire alone is not enough. Potential alone is not enough. Only action has the power to shift consequences in your favor. Every day you wake up, you are standing at a crossroads. One path is shaped by intention, and the other is shaped by consequence. If you choose intention, if you choose to act, to discipline yourself, to commit, you influence your consequences. You steer them. You bend them in the direction of your goals. But if you choose passivity, if you choose avoidance, consequences take control. And they rarely take you somewhere you want to go. The beautiful thing about life, however, is that you always have the ability to choose again. One decision can alter your trajectory. One moment of courage can rewrite an entire destiny. One honest look at the consequences you are facing can give you enough strength to face what you've been running from. So ask yourself, what consequences are you currently motivated by? What would happen if you do nothing? What would happen if you stay exactly where you are? What would happen if you continue living with the same habits, the same fears, the same excuses? Because whether you acknowledge it or not, those consequences are already unfolding. And the pain of staying the same will eventually override the fear of change. But you do not need to wait until you hit rock bottom to begin rising. You do not need to wait until consequences become unbearable before you choose a new direction. You can choose now. Before the cost grows higher. Before the regret grows deeper. Before you look back and wonder, why didn't I act when I had the chance? Consequences can awaken you. They can remind you that your time is not unlimited. They can remind you that every day you hesitate, someone else is moving forward. They can remind you that the life you want requires sacrifice, discipline, and decisiveness. You cannot tiptoe your way into greatness. You cannot get to the next level with the mindset that kept you at the last one. You must be willing to confront the consequences of your choices and use them as the fuel to make better ones. People talk about motivation as if it is some magical feeling that appears on its own, but real motivation often comes from seeing the reality of your life clearly. When you understand the consequences of inconsistency, you learn the value of discipline. When you understand the consequences of procrastination, you learn the value of urgency. When you understand the consequences of staying quiet, you learn the value of courage. When you understand the consequences of giving up, you learn the value of perseverance. Consequences teach what comfort never could. Being motivated by consequences does not mean living in fear. It means living in awareness. It means being honest with yourself. It means recognizing that everything you desire has a cost, and everything you refuse to confront has a consequence. You cannot escape the reality of consequences, but you can use them as a compass. You can let them guide you. You can let them sharpen you. You can let them turn you into someone who no longer runs from responsibility, but rises to meet it. Imagine what your life would look like if you became the type of person who acted before consequences forced you to. Imagine what you could achieve if you stopped waiting for the pain of staying the same to outweigh the fear of change. Imagine the doors that would open if you committed to your goals, not only because you want the reward, but because you understand the cost of inaction. That is true power. That is true maturity. That is the mindset of someone who refuses to let life happen to them and instead chooses to happen to life. The truth is, consequences are already shaping your future. Your decisions are already planting seeds that will eventually bloom. The question is, what are you planting? Are you planting the seeds of discipline, courage, and consistency? Or are you planting hesitation, fear, and regret? Because the garden will grow regardless. The results will come regardless. The harvest will arrive regardless. Your life will always reflect the consequences of your choices, whether you accept responsibility for them or not. And here's the liberating part: consequences are not here to punish you. They are here to redirect you. They are here to reveal what needs to change. They are here to show you where you have been holding yourself back. They are here to open your eyes to the power you often forget you have. Every consequence you face is sending you a message you are capable of better. You are made for more. You are meant to rise, not remain. And if you stop treating consequences as enemies and start treating them as guidance, your entire life will transform. Pain is often the greatest motivator because it pierces through illusion. It shows you what is real. It shows you what is no longer sustainable. But pain is not the end of the story. Pain is the beginning of clarity. And clarity is the fuel for change. When you finally see the truth of your situation, you can no longer lie to yourself about what needs to be done. And once you accept the truth, the power to transform becomes yours again. People transform when the cost of avoiding change becomes higher than the discomfort of embracing it. But if you choose to be motivated by consequences before they escalate, if you choose to act at the first whisper instead of waiting for the shout, you will accelerate your growth in ways most people never will. You will get ahead because you are not waiting for consequences to break you. You are allowing them to build you. What if the consequences you fear are actually the very things that will set you free? What if the discomfort you avoid is the doorway to the life you dream of? What if the price of inaction is far greater than the price of perseverance? What if the version of yourself you are trying to protect by avoiding change is the very version preventing you from reaching your full potential? You cannot outrun consequences, but you can outrun regret by choosing differently starting today. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You have more power than you think. You have more influence over your future than you believe. Every moment you choose action over hesitation, responsibility over avoidance, courage over fear, you shift your trajectory. So let this be the moment you decide to stop running. Let this be the moment you let consequences open your eyes instead of close your heart. Let this be the moment you choose to become the kind of person who acts with purpose, who moves with conviction, who lives with intention. Let this be the moment you choose to rise before life forces you to. Because the truth is, you already know what you need to do. You already know what choices are draining you. You already know what habits are holding you back. You already know what fears are controlling you. And you already know the consequences of continuing down that path. Motivation is not always about inspiration. Sometimes motivation is about reality. Sometimes it is about looking at the consequences of inaction and saying, I refuse to let this be my story. Sometimes it is about understanding that greatness is not built on comfort, but on decisions. Repeated, unwavering decisions to choose growth over stagnation. You have the ability to change the trajectory of your life starting right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, the consequences of every delay accumulate faster than you think. The future version of you, the one who is confident, fulfilled, strong, successful, depends on what you do in this moment. And if you choose action, your future will thank you. If you choose courage, your life will change. If you choose responsibility, your power will return. If you choose perseverance, your potential will unfold. Do not fear consequences. Use them. Let them push you. Let them sharpen you. Let them become the reason you rise instead of the reason you fall. Because you are not here to live at the mercy of your choices. You are here to master them. You are not here to be shaped by circumstances. You are here to shape your destiny. And you are not here to be held hostage by consequences. You are here to be motivated by them. Your future begins the moment you decide that the cost of an action is too high. Your greatness begins the moment you decide that consequences are not threats. They are invitations. Invitations to rise, to grow, to evolve, to become the person you were meant to be. Take ownership. Take responsibility. Take action. Let consequences be the fire that forges your strength, not the weight that crushes it. Your life, your story, your destiny, they are waiting on you. And the moment you choose to be motivated by consequences, instead of defeated by them, everything begins to change. Now rise. Your future depends on it. Your purpose demands it. Your consequences are calling, and they are calling you to greatness.